Oh, hey there, folks. Welcome to Turbo Tom's Totally Tubular 10-minute podcast. We are on episode 5, actually. Kind of on a roll here. I'm trying to do at least a couple a week, at the very minimum once a week when I get busy in the summer. It's really not too hard for me to do a couple a week, and that kind of keeps me on track and keeps me consistent. So, yeah, it is Super Bowl Sunday, and to be honest, I don't really give a shit about who wins. I grew up loving the game of football, loved playing football, but I never grew to like a certain team that much. So, unfortunately, I don't really get that into it, even though I used to be obsessed with football. But it is fun to watch, and it's a reason to eat shitty food and drink beer, which is what I'm doing. Shout out to Kramer and Kin, a local brewery up here in the islands. They have a place up in Aalborg at the Aalborg Golf Course. So yeah, check them out if you're ever up here. They've got some really good beer, but also really cool cans, which is basically the first thing that drew my attention to them. I'm from Wisconsin. We drink a bunch of light beer up there, and when I moved to New England, the Northeast, like every place you go has like 1,000 different beers to choose from, and all from all these cool local breweries. But how I decide is what can I like the most. So if you got a cool can, most likely I'm going to drink your beer. But yeah, so the girlfriend's working today, so I'm just hanging out by myself and the dogs, and I'm smoking some meat, got some meat on the smoker, and yeah, just chilling out. So a beautiful day up here in Vermont, like mid 30s. So, I mean, it's really nice. I'm going to take the dogs on a walk and shit later. So that's going to be cool. But yeah, let's see. Nothing too new, nothing crazy happening. I've been walking basically nonstop now without my boot. I don't need my boot anymore. I kind of jumped right into walking without it. As soon as I got the clear for that, I've been stretching it and doing my exercises here at home. And I've already kind of can see, I don't want to say I have more range of motion before I did going into surgery, but I mean, I can already feel it getting to that point to where it was before. And I can see over time, once it heals a little more, I really do feel like it's going to be a big difference. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm super stoked about it. So yeah, freaking cheers to that. That's about it. I think I said this last week. I'm just trying to get all my gear ready for my trip up to Alaska. I've booked my ferry. I'm actually have to take the ferry up in Skagway, Alaska. In the past, I've driven to Prince Rupert and taken the 6-hour ferry to Ketchikan from there. But for some reason this year, I'm not really sure what the problem is, but the ship or the ferry, that takes that trip from Prince Rupert to Ketchikan is broken down, and they have some mechanical issues or whatever. So there's no trips going from Prince Rupert until May 1st, and I have to, till sometime in May, and I have to be up there May 1st. So, excuse me. Now I'm burping because of that beer. So now I have to go up to Skagway, take the trip up to Skagway, about another 8 hours of driving. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed. It's actually a more expensive ferry, and it's more driving. But I can make the best of it and explore part of this country that I haven't seen before. So that'll be kind of cool. And I am taking the trip by myself, which of course it would be more fun, of course, to have my girlfriend and my dogs there. Obviously, I would love to have them. One benefit will be to not have to worry about trying to make them comfortable, even if it was my dog. Like, I always kind of overthink that kind of shit. And when I'm by myself, like, I'll just sleep in my fucking truck. Like, I don't care. If I get tired, I'll just pull over and literally sleep in my truck. And so it's a little easier when you're running solo, because you just you don't have to worry about inconveniencing anybody else. So I will take about a week or so to get up there. Going to try to stop out in Colorado if it works out and visit with Jesse Dumas, who's on the Logjam podcast with me. And if we can, we'll shoot a podcast together while we're out there. There's been talk about hitting up an open mic and both of us doing some stand-up comedy. We'll see if that works out. But that could be a lot of fun. But yeah, and I did just get done editing the Log Jam episode 2. We'd shot that this last Wednesday, and I've been trying to do all the editing. It's kind of just a little bit of a learning curve for me. So yeah, check that out. That was kind of a fun episode. And we got all that finished up, and I don't know if we'll shoot one this week, but we will shoot one the following week for sure. But yeah, that's rolling along. We're learning. We're getting into a groove. It's good stuff. So, all right. We're about 5 or so minutes in here. I'm going to kind of try to jump to a couple questions I have. Let's see here. All right. Okay. So this is on a, hold on. I'm going to go ahead and just share it and see if that works out. That works out. Okay. We are sharing it. So it was just a video of me training at my house here in Vermont, and I've got I've got an I-beam set up springboard poles. So that's what you see me using there. In this video, I did a voiceover kind of explaining what I was doing there. Sometimes I feel like I have to be repetitive with my content just to because when I get new followers or some of my videos don't get that much views, I feel like I kind of want to repeat myself. So new followers can understand what's going on. So I think that the question is here, he said, let me just zoom in a little bit. He says, how do you get that bottom board when you're going up? And it's a good question. So most of the springboard events that you'll see are 2-board springboards. So that would have been it for that. I would have chopped my first board. I have my second board set up leaning against the tree. And after I, of course, chop that first pocket and get on that first board, chop the second pocket, reach up, grab my second board that's leaning right against the tree, and then I can jump to the second board, and that's where I finish the event by chopping the block that's on top. And so then from there, I mean, that's it. Then, and then you can just climb back down. And when we do a 3-board jigger, we have 2 boards set up, and that's basically it. We just have, if you're going a 3rd board high, you got to have a 3rd board. Basically, to kind of however many boards you're going up, that's how many you have to have. Sometimes what I do is to train for the 3-board jiggers. If my girlfriend's around, I only have 2 boards right now, so I'll get on the second board and then have her hand me the first board, and then have to have her put it back in place. I suppose if I had to jump down, I could, but so yeah, that makes it a little tricky when you don't have enough boards. But normally the standard springboard chop is the 2-board, and you just kind of lean that second one up against there and climb up like you see there in the video. So, all right, so I'm going to take 1 second. I'm going to run out of camera here, and I'm going to grab my climbing equipment. And this guy wants to know, he says, cleats with gaffs attached. Can you explain? I'm a lineman curious, and we get linemen wanting to know about our gear all the time, just because it is such a bizarre thing to look at if you're used to a traditional lineman gaff, which is what you see right here. Oops. So yeah, so the traditional lineman gaffs looks like this. I mean, they have nicer ones with nicer pads, but basically this is just a standard lineman gaff, and you strap that to your boot, and that's what you use to climb. And what you see us with here is what's called a toe gaff. Let's see here. So this is, as you can see, a cleat mounted to a modified gaff. I've cut the other end of the loop off right there, as you can see, and bolted it with a bit of a plate there to have more footing onto my climbing gaff. And the other thing we do here is you can see that we take this gaff here, and it is actually turned up and in a little bit to help us on the way down. It wants to fall out a little more naturally. So yeah, and then we actually make this fiberglass upper ourselves. That's all fiberglass that I've molded to my leg. And this is actually a little excessive. Mine have always been a little big. I'm going to make them a little bit smaller in the future. But basically that's it. And it can slide, as you can see. And That is so that when this is attached to my calf, and my obviously my foot's in my cleat, when I put that gaff into the tree, I can then push off my toes and move more naturally up the tree as if I was running. And when you're climbing in a traditional gaff like this, and it's strapped to like the arch of your foot, you're kind of moving up the tree a little more flat-footed, if that makes sense. And you're running a little more flat-footed, which isn't obviously ideal for being fast. Now, so that toe gaff has allowed us to move a lot more efficiently up the tree, basically. And I think when that came around, when a gentleman named Guy German invented it back in the early 2000s, it like cut the world records in like by a couple seconds, I feel like, or at least a full second, in a 60-foot climb. The records were getting shattered once this toe gaff was invented, just because it's such a more natural movement up the tree, which is pretty incredible difference if you're used to that traditional gaff. And at the World Championships, you'll see in the 60-foot climb, it's a traditional climb, so we have to wear the traditional gaff. We'll wear different uppers, and we will bend that gaff, but other than that, it is just strapped to your foot. And then in the 90-foot, as well as the 80-foot out west, we can wear the modified toe gaff. So yeah, you'll notice that we move a lot quicker when we're wearing that toe gaff, and it's a whole lot more fun to climb in for speed climbing. Now, unfortunately, it just wouldn't be an ideal setup for any sort of arborist work or lineman work. You're not going to want to sit in that gaff for very long. This is only for speed climbing. So, but yeah, I hope that answers your questions. I'll probably be doing this again. I'll probably give you even more of a breakdown when I can get up to Alaska and actually show you the difference on the trees. So keep a lookout for that. Definitely going over our time, but I couldn't cut myself short talking about speed climbing equipment. So thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate you. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Yo-ho. Kramer and Ken, check them out. Yo-ho.